What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the all-new Mazda CX-90, which is their newest three-row SUV, to one of the legends, the Toyota Highlander. See if Mazda made a really nice car. Can it compete with something that's been around for a very long time and kind of is the tried and true family three-row SUV? So let's start right off with what you can get for the powertrains for both of these. Both Toyota and Mazda is going to offer you a hybrid option as well as a standard trim level. So looking at the Mazda, you have quite a few really cool options. You have a 2.5 liter hybrid four-cylinder that makes 323 horsepower. You can also get the 3.3 liter turbocharged inline six-cylinder. There's two versions, a 280 horsepower version or a 340 horsepower option. The hybrid can tow 3,500 pounds, and then the inline six can tow 5,000 pounds. On the Toyota Highlander, you have also a 2.5 liter hybrid four-cylinder, only with 243 horsepower. And then the other option is a 2.4 liter turbocharged four-cylinder with 264 horsepower. Both options are going to be able to tow 3,500 pounds. So already you can see the Mazda has three really cool engine options, and that six-cylinder turbo can crank out some serious power. Toyota's only giving you two different versions, and we have more towing on the Mazda. So from there, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior, because that's why you're buying this. You're buying this car for that second and third row. Let's see which one has more space. Moving on to the back seats of the Mazda CX-90, you can see how the door panel is finished off. There is going to be available manual sunshades, you got some storage in it, and then nice set of captain's chairs. So pretty cool configuration with nice designs on the leather. Now there is a removable cup holder piece right here. Does honestly feel pretty flimsy, probably will break with kids. However, it's nice to give you just a little bit of that. There are climbing controls down below with your air vents, plugs, heated seats, and you're gonna see storage on the back side of these front seats. And then moving on to the Toyota Highlander, once again, you are gonna get manual sunshades, storage along the door panel, same manual type of controls on the seats, nice leather material, and then you're gonna have the captain's chairs with adjustable armrests. Now this one has a little bit nicer design for a very sturdy cup holder. And then you're also gonna see we have plugs, all of your different climate controls, and then for the air vents are actually located up on the ceiling. So a little bit different configuration. However, overall this does seem very similar. We can also pull this lever and then get this seat out of the way, slide it forward manually. We have a small step into the third row where there are gonna be three seats. And then in the Mazda, you also have a manual lever you can pull, slide the seat forward, and we have a nice small step into that third row where there's once again going to be three seats. So then now sitting in the Mazda CX-90, this is a pretty roomy second row. I'm 5'11", I have plenty of headroom. Armrest is in a good place, of course, with all the different adjustments. And then you have a manual sliding feature, having it completely slid back. I can also recline the seat. Doesn't recline a crazy amount, however, honestly, I would have no issue being back here for quite a long time. And then if we just get these out of the way, you are able to sneak your way through a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit tight with these right here. And then this just kind of folds down out of the way. So it is nice that there is a little bit of a walkway into that third row. But overall, with the amenities you get, comfort level, things like that, definitely a really nice second row. And then now hopping into the third row in the Mazda CX-90. So definitely a little on the cramped side. You know, this is intended, if I can get my feet under it, this is intended for small children or in a pinch. As you can see, not exactly fitting the best. My legs are a little tight. I would have to slide this seat up a little bit to be more comfortable. However, if I did that, it actually wouldn't be too bad. The seat itself, while it's kind of low on the ground, your knees are gonna be high up if they're not extended. It's not the worst. The seat itself is actually pretty comfortable. Now there's no real amenities. We do have some cup holders, USB ports, decent armrest. So not bad. You know, this isn't a full-size jumbo SUV. So given the footprint of both of these vehicles, this does seem like a pretty good third row for what it is. Really no complaints for being obviously not the biggest SUV, but in a pinch, not bad for adults, definitely fine for kids. So moving on to the Toyota Highlander, once again, not a bad seating position, comfortable seat. I would say maybe just a tad less headroom, but still plenty, more than you need, quite honestly. Not bad at all. Reclining these, they do go back a little bit farther. They don't go the lowest for the armrest, but quite honestly, this is pretty darn comfortable. Of course, you have your air vents on the ceiling, so a little bit different configuration, but really can't complain. So honestly, I think they're both about the same as far as the second row. When you put the armrests up, about the same amount of space to get into the third row, a little on the tight side. All right, so then now moving on to the third row seat. I'd say this definitely is more cramped. I don't think I can really get my leg in here. Yeah, I think the Highlander is a little bit more cramped in this back, actually a lot more, definitely more confined in here. The seats, I believe, do recline if you pull this, which, well, that helps a lot. Less headroom, less knee room, very confined in here. So I will say, if you're looking for the third row, of course you can get the Grand Highlander, which has a really nice third row seat. If you are wanting this size SUV though, the Mazda's third row, definitely a lot better, a lot bigger. So Highlander really is sacrificing in the third row. This is incredibly tight for a full-grown adult, and even for a kid to probably be a little on the cramped side. And then moving on to the cargo area with the third row up, you can see just how much more storage space you're gonna have. I'd say you might have 1.5 feet of room in here. So not too bad, just got the all-weather floor mat. And this one, however, if we pull this up, there is a little bit of hidden storage space. Now from back here, we have access to pull this. Headrest will fold down as well, and these will get out of the way. And now you can get a little bit better idea of the cargo area with the second row up. Of course, the seats will also fold down nice and flat. And this does get a power liftgate. We can go ahead and press the button and close it up. Moving on to the Mazda's cargo area behind the third row. Pretty similar, you do have a little bit of a cubby on the left side. We can open this up, and this one is the hybrid, so we don't really have any space. However, I would assume the non-hybrid does have a little bit of extra space. They seem similar back here. One thing to note, this doesn't quite open as high as the Highlander. I just hit my head on it, so that's something to notice. And then from here, we can pull that and then get these seats out of the way, just like we saw in the Toyota. This honestly looks about the same as well. So it seems like these are definitely very similar in size, very comparable. You just do get just a little bit more space in that third row, which is probably why this does feel a little bit smaller, just by a little. So I could see that for sure being the case. And then of course, you're gonna see some technology as well, and we can automatically close the liftgate. So then now sitting in the Mazda CX-90, now this one is nearly a top of the line one versus that XLE Highlander. So they're not exactly direct competitive trims. So we're just gonna kind of get the gist of what the interior is like. Of course, we do have push button start, and go ahead and fire this one up. So one thing you're gonna notice, the Mazda quite honestly makes a lot of that noise. That is incredibly annoying. Every time you start it, you're gonna hear that annoying noise. You know, if you pop your seatbelt off or something and you're not stationary, you're gonna hear that. So that is one annoying thing. You do have a nice digital screen, not touchscreen for the center, which is definitely a downfall. If we hit the home icon, you have to use a rotary dial to go into everything. It is not my favorite system. It could absolutely be better and be touchscreen. Even just to change the station, you gotta go back every single time, go into it and change it. So the screen's not my favorite. Pretty simple in here, layout of buttons. Of course you do have all the technology, drive modes, cup holders pop up over here, and then of course, you know, good storage space. So pretty nice interior overall. Just the biggest downfalls, screen's not touchscreen, and it makes a lot of annoying noises. And then now in the Toyota Highlander, now this one still is a pretty nice trim. You're gonna see the synthetic leather material and things like that, sunroof. So pretty nice layout. You're gonna see extra storage space. If we go ahead and fire it up, you have a full screen in the center, and then a smaller LCD there. Still get a little bit of an annoying chime. However, the Mazda takes the cake for being more annoying. And then you're gonna see, you know, your typical controls, climate controls and everything in the center. Very easily accessible. I'd say these are a little bit easier to read than in the Mazda. And then this screen is all touchscreen. Definitely a nicer setup for sure. You can see all your basic information that you would expect to see in a car. So Toyota's infotainment for sure, much better. Both of them do have nice backup cameras. I'd say about the same. And then we have a little bit more old school tech in the center with your analog gauges along with the screen itself. So not too bad, definitely not a bad place to be in either car. I'd say the interior wise, Toyota's got a better center screen, Mazda has a better gauge cluster. I like the Toyota's climate control vents a little bit better. And then I do like the Mazda's interior layout overall just a little bit better aside from not having touchscreen. All right, so setting off now in the Toyota Highlander. Now we're not really comparing drivetrain to drivetrain simply because this one is a normal turbo 4-cylinder, the Mazda is a hybrid, so we're not gonna really be able to compare apples to apples. However, at least just seating position, ride quality, interior technology, things like that. So far, leaving the parking lot, the Highlander's really nice and smooth. comfortable to sit in, good controls for all the power seats, so I can get pretty comfortable in here for sure. Looking at visibility, ride quality, things like that. Easily see out the front, all the mirrors do a great job letting me know what's going on behind me. Kind of an easy, normal family SUV. Good visibility over my right and left shoulder as well. So not bad at all. Brakes seem to do a good job. And so far, going still slow speed, it's a pretty quiet ride. You know, we're up to 35, 40 now. It's just smooth and comfortable. The suspension absorbs bumps nicely. Armrests are in a great place. This is gonna be a car you're gonna be buying, probably going on family road trips, vacations, things like that. And already, I'm already getting very comfortable in this, where I really wouldn't have an issue just racking up the miles in it. It seems like a comfortable car to be in, and the technology, user interface of everything is very simple. Touchscreen, you kind of have to reach for it just a tad, but actually not even really for my height at least. But easy to use while driving, nothing really too confusing about it. It's very simple. Climate is right there. I know exactly how to adjust everything with just looking at it for 2 seconds. Gear selector, everything works pretty normal there. And the storage solutions, we have storage here, here, all up in here, all over the dash. We have wireless phone charging, more of that storage in there. And then you can pull this back and we have a lot of space in here. So very useful, normal car, honestly. Toyota does a good job just giving you something normal. They don't want you to have to hop into one of their cars and have to figure everything out. They want you to hop in it and instantly know how to use it. And I haven't been in a Highlander in quite a long time. I think the Grand Highlander was the last time I've been in something close. This is incredibly familiar already. So certainly not a bad option. Build quality feels nice. I don't think there's really anything to say you don't like about it. It's a Toyota, tried and true. Toyota is kind of the benchmark for a lot of brands just because they are just so good, so reliable. Steering feel, I'm going to mention this because I've already, of course, driven the Mazda. Steering feel on this is really nice and light, easy to maneuver. The car in parking lot situations and things like that seems like a car that you can just drive and it's nothing out of the ordinary. So it's easy to park, easy to drive, comfortable on the steering, just really light and precise. I mean, it's not a sports car, but you know, going around turns is just a very nicely weighted steering wheel to feel really comfortable while driving. So now in the Mazda CX90, we'll see how this feels. Once again, you have all sorts of good controls to get comfortable in the seat. The seating position, you do feel a little bit higher up in this SUV. I feel like it just feels a little bit more like bulky in a cool way, I would say. So it has a little bit more of like SUV to the feeling of just sitting in it versus more crossover in the Highlander. Kind of subjective, of course, but that's just kind of what I'm noticing for the feeling. Steering, that's why I mentioned steering the other one. The steering is kind of weird in this. There's not really anything that happens when you do this to the car, but after that, it starts getting kind of heavy. So the steering feel in the Mazda just does a little off. Like slowly driving, it doesn't really feel much doing this. But when you have to take a quick maneuver or something like that, it just starts to feel a little heavy when you really crank the wheel. So just a little weird on the steering. Visibility and everything, I wouldn't say I have any issues. A little bit worse over my right shoulder. The back part of the SUV on the side is a little bit compromised. So you're gonna notice that a little bit. This does feel more spacious and more open. The seats, I would say, are a little bit harder padded, so they're not quite as squishy feeling, but armrests are, I'd say, a little bit better than the Toyota. So not a bad SUV. It just feels like you gotta muscle the steering wheel a little bit more. That's the biggest thing you're gonna notice. But I do like how it feels wider in here. It just feels like there's a little bit more room. And then all the climate controls are still laid out very well and easy to see like the Toyota. You just do have to kind of look down for them a little bit. And given they are underneath this whole panel, you're used to seeing out of a bright windshield. When you make your eyes go down here, it's very dark. So it takes like a split second for your eyes to adjust to the white font on the black area. That's one little nitpicky thing I just noticed. The Toyotas are kind of like right here to where they're really, really obvious. This one, you just gotta get used to them a little bit more. And then like I mentioned, the infotainment, not being touchscreen, I think is a huge drawback. If you wanna change your station, I have to hit down, scroll down twice to channel list, click it, and then change my station. So that is not the best thing to go with. Mazda, I don't know why this is how they do their infotainment. They certainly could use a touchscreen system, pull the screen closer, let me reach it or something. So that'd be my biggest thing I would notice. Other than that, it feels like a pretty well put together SUV. It seems pretty solid. It seems like a well put together car. As we get up to quicker speeds now, still nice and quiet. Smooth suspension. I will say, I think there is less road noise in this. So I feel like this rides a little bit more on the luxury side. Again, this is a higher trim level than what we're looking at for the Toyota. However, I've driven quite a few Highlanders over the years, and that seems about what they are. So I feel like this does have just a little bit better sound insulation to give you a more premium feel. I know Mazda's really pushing this to be a premium luxurious SUV, and I can see that to an extent. It does have a very solid nature and a very quiet ride. We're going quicker than we were in the Toyota on the same bumpy road. This is noticeably quieter. So there you guys go, comparing the all-new Mazda CX-90 to a pretty strong competitor that has been around for a very long time, the Toyota Highlander. Overall, I think Mazda really did do a great job giving you a 3-row SUV that's not a jumbo size. It kind of gives you that sweet spot. You can tell it's only slightly bigger looking than the Toyota Highlander. However, that 3rd row really does make a difference. 2nd row, I'd say, is about the same. Driver and passenger comfort, I'd say, is about the same as well. But the Mazda, you have more engine options, better towing capabilities, a little bit more refined ride, that better 3rd row. The Toyota does give you a little bit better infotainment system. It just works a lot easier. And it seems like the seats themselves are just a little bit more comfortable. So comment below, which one would you take? Would you go for the tried and true Toyota Highlander or try out the new Mazda? Mazda certainly does have some pretty cool options for it, but Toyota still has some great options as well. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.